The Denver Nuggets just keep putting together these amazing performances. Who could have foreseen, Matt? Who could have possibly foreseen that professional NBA basketball players would be able to figure it out? He is Matt Moore. He figured it out, and we're going to talk about it next here on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, parts of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode, being an everydayer and joining with us and being your first listen as you begin the week with a massive, incredibly impressive Denver Nuggets win. Just a gritty, a grindy, a very focused, and wasn't always pretty, but one that you just have to do sometimes through the great landscape of the NBA. And they deserve a whole bunch of credit. We're going to give it to them here. My name is Ryan Blackburn, host here at Locked On Nuggets, also over at Mile High Sports. Been going to the arena for, this is my 7th season now, and was credited with that with a very cool promotion that we'll talk about that a little bit later when we've got some time. He is Matt Moore of HP Basketball, the Denver Dig, Hardwood Paroxysm, the Action Network stream as well. You better go check his stuff out. He's been going to the arena for twice as long as I have. Today's episode, we are going to discuss a whole bunch of fun things. The Nuggets are still surviving. They're 4-3 without Nikola Jokic in their last 7 games. Zeke Nnaji and Jalen Pickett are having moments. Peyton Watson's like figuring things out as a high volume option. Tim Hardaway saved the Nuggets. But Aaron Gordon, I think, is where we should start, Matt, as he goes toe-to-toe with Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks as they win 108 to 104. I was about to say 84 for some reason. 108 to 104. This was a close game, a contested game, and the Nuggets just found a way to grind it out, Matt. What was your big takeaway?
Okay. I think my big takeaway is mostly that David Adelman's done an incredible job of putting the team in the best position to weather the stretch. I think the players have also stepped up and done their part. I think the most impressive thing to me tonight was actually, and usually I'm the first to credit AG. And I think AG was great tonight and really worked hard. And he had 23 points and he had 6 rebounds and 4 assists. But a lot of this is like, he did such a great job on Giannis. Oh yeah, what'd Giannis do? 31 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, 10 of 17 from the floor, 10 of 14 from the line, and a plus 16 because he's a monster. But this is the big one. The Denver Nuggets at one point had a massive advantage in the rebounding department. The Bucks caught up late because of 2 possessions where they got multiple rebounds on individual possessions late in this game because the Nuggets were starting to wear out. And that's going to be the battle every single night when you're shorthanded like this, regardless of how great the players are. They're out for Denver and they are great, but they're just so shorthanded and guys are having to play more minutes than they have. They're just getting tired, especially coming off the injuries and with how sick they are. Oh, yeah. But the Nuggets won the rebounding battle tonight. And the Nuggets won the rebounding battle against a team that has more size, more physicality. And the Bucks, I don't think are a great rebounding team, but it was still very impressive to me, the effort that they gave on that level, because what they did in this game is that even though they had problems they had to battle sinking down on Giannis and then recovering to shooters. And quite honestly, the Bucks got up 34 3-point attempts, which is not terrible. It's not good. It's right in the middle. It's about average. Fine.
Honestly, pretty good for a team like the Bucks that may get up a whole heck of a lot if Giannis is spraying out the shooters a lot.
Yeah. But the bigger thing is that they didn't allow those offensive rebound threes because those, I think, are the ones that kill you the most. I think those are the most damaging shots you can get. They're almost always catch and shoot. Your defense is scrambled. You don't have the right matchups, and the shooters are always really ready to go because they're stepping into these shots usually because they started to get back on defense and they're stepping into these shots and they're almost always high percentage catch and shoot with a scrambled defense. And so by preventing those opportunities, the Nuggets gave themselves a chance to win. It was a gritty win. It wasn't a super physical, intense game. It was just every single night, this team has to figure out how are they going to do this.
Yeah.
And some nights they don't have the effort to go along with it because it's a long season and this is how it goes. And they get killed like the Hawks game. And some nights they do, and they're able to beat this Bucks team that is not good, but is also not like one of the worst teams in the league, and does feature one of the best players in the league. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for David Adelman and the coaching staff for getting these guys ready with a good game plan, and the players for executing that game plan and continuing to play low mistake basketball, which I think is such an underrated part of this entire equation for them. Fewer turnovers tonight. This is the whole thing. It's like you have to lower the possession count. You have to lower the mathematical disadvantage that you're at. You have to limit the number of possessions you allow. And they've done that. And I think it's been really great execution of team basketball to get them in this position.
100%. And like the reason why I framed it in that light in terms of like just a high effort, gritty win was because it does feel like an exhaustive task to be able to have to go out there every single night and try to figure out that way and try to figure out the method of which they're going to attack the game and how they're going to stop. Like, on top of missing 5 important players in their rotation, they're also battling Giannis. They're also battling a team that should be frankly better than it is, but it's just not. It's very impressive that they are able to dig deep in this situation. Spencer Jones, I'm sure, was not all the way back healthy, but he found a way to get back on the floor and give them 25 minutes. He wasn't his best minutes, but like it's just another example of just needing to get out there.
So I thought Spencer post game, it was me and Vic, and then I caught him on a question about how to guard Giannis. And Spencer continues to be one of my favorite people to talk to in the locker room. He's just very thoughtful. Spencer's very clearly still very sick.
Yeah.
So again, I know that fans never want to hear excuses really, but especially like that one's probably getting old. I'm just like telling you that if a guy looks particularly worse than normal, you can pretty much bet right now that it's because, he must have what's going around the locker room. So I think he's really sick.
I did not go into the locker room because I did not want to make it a hat trick of sicknesses for Ryan this year in the regular season. So I just decided to not mess with that. But yeah, it's just like, again, as you mentioned with Giannis, to be plus 16 in a 4-point loss in a game where you played 33 minutes, like it's a lot. Denver had to make up a lot of that ground. And some of it was when like Aaron Gordon was minus 11, but I still think that battling on a consistent basis and making sure it was not a 13 out of 17 or a 14 out of 17 is a really big deal. And then on top of that, to be able to go back at Giannis on the other end, not always Giannis, of course, and trying to hunt a different matchups and maybe attack Miles Turner, maybe attack Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, guys like that. But it just felt like Denver needed Aaron, especially in that fourth quarter. David Adelman made special mention of this, that he brought the ball up in the fourth quarter every single possession. And like, that takes a lot of guts. Now, part of it is because like if Giannis is guarding him, he's not pressuring full court. But it's still a smart decision and still a great ode to Aaron Gordon's versatility. And his shot making was insane in the first half.
Yeah, 8 points for AG in the fourth quarter, 4 or 5 from the line. He missed one, but hit another pair of really clutch free throws. One of the people are kind of talking about the offense. I will say, I think Aaron got tired at the end of the game, and they're talking about like if anybody's gonna be taking those mid-range shots, it should be Tim. Well, I will tell you, like Tim's never gonna actually initiate the offense. That's not Tim's role. Tim's role is to be the tip of the spear. So the idea should be that somebody else generates those shots, generates leverage, and then is able to kick out. AG wasn't able to really get there because of how they were shading the defense. So if you kind of go back and you watch, what you're going to notice is like he gets a switch and he's got an advantage. But then you've got like Giannis is basically like, if you drive and attempt a layup, I'm going to block it into the next galaxy. And
he
like,
also blitzed him on occasions and was trying to get them to pick up the ball and force him to give it up in a lot of those cases. And so it was a very disruptive defense that they were trying on AG at the end. And I just think like, look, Denver had to survive by the skin of their teeth at the end. They only scored 23 points. Milwaukee made a run.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I think here's the thing. The bench won the game tonight.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened is the bench won the game and the Bucks bench honestly lost it. Like think about that. Yeah, I give you the stat that Giannis was plus 16 in a game in which they lost by 6 or by 4. I'm sorry. So like they were minus 20 in the 15 minutes that Giannis sat down. Does that sound familiar? Does that ring any bells?
Yeah, you know, it sounds about right. Shout out to Gary Harris though, who was on that bench. So no slander for Gary. Come on now.
Of course not. So like the bench won the game, and the starters did get dicey down the stretch, but you should expect that when it's like, okay, you're going up against the starting unit of an NBA team without 5 rotation players and 4 starters.
Yeah.
Like it's not surprising. And one of the things I think that is key is I thought it was really interesting. Adelman talked after the game about the decision to start Aaron because they're trying to figure out how to get him to finish the game and still stay under his minute limit. They went over the minute limit tonight, but
barely. It was probably at like 28 and he went to 30. So as David Adelman said, Doc Rivers does it or whoever does it, I can do it too.
Yeah. THDR says the bench. So the starters, well, I just meant the bench in this game, but yes, the bench has become, they made the whole team. They made the whole plane out of the bench guys at this point. Tim was really great. 25 points, 8 of 12 shooting. I thought that like just the stuff that he does in terms of being ready to shoot is really huge and just making shots. I think it is really key. Adelman singled out how great of a screener he actually is, that he's actually really good at slipping screens. We'll talk about Zeke, I'm sure, in the course of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously some good play for him. One of the things I really want to kind of single out is Jalen Pickett, who was -9, but I really love the way that he ran the offense tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was terrific in terms of what he was able to do with that. And I just thought the Nuggets process the entire game was really good. They had a good game plan. They executed it well. It was a well-played game. And like from a big picture standpoint, okay, now they're 4-3 without Joker. I said they got to go 5-14 or 5-9 over the non-Joker stretch. They're at 4 wins already. So I like from where I'm standing, and the Rockets lost again last night.
Save it.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
We've got a full show, Matt.
I'm sorry.
Come on now. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will discuss. I do definitely want to get into Tim Hardaway, kind of the balance between him and Peyton Watson in some of these situations, as well as, hey, we're going to have some serious conversations about Zeke Nnaji and Jalen Pickett. We'll talk about it next here on Locked On Nuggets. All right. Fridays already feel so different during this basketball season, and FanDuel's making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official postgame, or it's your official pregame. Excuse me. Don't go there postgame. It's your pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during the NBA Happy Hour always brings something new. You could get some boosts in there. You could get some bonuses, some surprises. They'll do the same game parlay tokens. They'll do profit boosts, like usually like some pretty good stuff if you know how to use it. So make sure to go check it out. It's easy to check the weekly special as well right before the tip to make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect right before the games, right before the weekend starts. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. And we are back, Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, folks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. Would really appreciate it. Also, make sure to check out Everydayer Club. We continue to hang out in the Discords, having a good time during these games. If you want to talk to us during the games, if you're not necessarily accessing us on Twitter, make sure to go check out the Discord and go check out lockedonnuggets.supercast.com. Okay.
I have a big picture view of this game I want to give.
Okay, let's hear it.
So you put, it caught me because your title for this on YouTube is huge win, right? And we've done this like 5 or 6 times. Like
they're all huge.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is actually what I was thinking is I had to kind of, I've been batting this thing all year where people are like, this is just like last year. And I'm like, this year is nothing like last year. But even beyond winning that point, which I have, is that think about last year, how many huge losses the Nuggets had.
Oh my God.
How many times we came on here and talked about like, this was a terrible loss.
Matt, they couldn't get out of their own way in terms, especially like during the first half of the season. Every time you felt like they should go on a run, they cut themselves off at the knees with a loss.
Yeah. And so instead they've got like all of these wins where there are, they've had bad losses. The Kings loss was bad. The Bulls one was bad. The Mavs losses are the ones that really, those grind my gears the most, where I'm just like,
could just be a bad matchup.
It's not just the fact that I think that the Mavericks are absolutely trash, and that they are. That team is garbage. Yeah. And I tried telling their fans that they were going to be garbage in the offseason. They thought I was crazy, and they're garbage. It's that, like, those are just games where it's like, come on, guys. You can't get killed by Ryan Nemhard. Like, no, you cannot allow Ryan Nemhard to kill you. I'm actually really interested to see whether or not Joker is back for the Mavericks game, because if they are running the switching defense, I think that might be a much better, like, the Mavericks might win, but it won't be because Ryan Nemhard is what I'm
back for the Mavericks game. What are you on? Like, that's a pretty early return.
When is it?
Mavericks game is on Wednesday.
Next Wednesday? This Wednesday?
This Wednesday in 3 days.
We'll be back for this Wednesday. If you said next Wednesday, I'd be like, I will continue to peddle the optimism on Joker because it doesn't really cost me anything. Like, you should expect him back in 4 weeks, but man, just we'll see. I am pretty optimistic on all. Now he may just like try and more ramp up, and then he may have setbacks. That's possible, but pretty good, pretty optimistic. Anyway, the bigger point is just like the big wins this year dwarf the big losses by such a significant margin.
100%. That's a great point, because like it hasn't felt like, and like, look, there are losses that I'm sure that stick in the craw of some Nuggets fans, but like those have been completely washed away, in my opinion, based off of how Denver has approached this, how they have gone about their business. And like, yeah, is it understandable if you lose to Atlanta on the first game of a homestand after a 7-game road trip when you're down 5 guys? Absolutely. And especially if you immediately wash it away with a performance like this.
Let's talk about the guys getting the opportunity right now.
Yeah.
In Jalen, Pickett, and Zeke Nnaji and what they're doing. I do want to note this. XDXDK1C says, should trust the young guys. Jalen Pickett's 26 years old.
It is kind of funny. Yeah.
Zeke Nnaji is 25. I have news for you. These are not young men.
Not anymore.
These are just inexperienced players. That's really all it is. Zeke in particular, this was, I'm trying to think about if there was a better game from him this season. The Sixers game, maybe. Do you feel like there's a better game for him this season?
I mean, the Sixers game was the Zeke Nnaji coming out party. It was also the Jalen Pickett coming out party. Those guys, like, that was an unbelievable performance, and one that Tim Hardaway actually spoke about in the post game and said that really galvanized them. It really gave them some momentum and felt like they knew how to play, and it was just a really nice opportunity for all those guys to really show it. So we've got the voice of reason hanging out in the window here. This is becoming a common occurrence as somebody
he's just like Batman waiting to like swoop in.
Boom! There he is. Hello.
Just got done with Locked On NBA. Saw you fellas were little red button was going, so I was like, let me step in. When did hipster Matt get here?
So
hey, brother, can I get a coffee, please? Can you hold the milk?
There's been 3 comments. One is this from THDR, says, Matt, are you going to go chop firewood after? The second one is that, are you a hipster now? And then the third one is Matt going to be riding down Fed in a lowrider later on? And I was just like, okay. The real answer is
some holes in that ski mask there.
The real answer is that, one, I was wearing my very preppy LL Bean sweater, and I do not like to wear it on shows because it's not really representative of who I am, but this was like my business casual, and I've slipped into the flannel as soon as I got home. And the reason I'm wearing the beanie is because I'm bald, and if you are going bald, if you're a gentleman and you're going bald, I need you to understand this very quickly, that once you give up the ghost and you start shaving your head, you need to be prepared to be cold all the time. You will be cold all the time. You are cold in the morning. You are cold at night. You walk outside for 5 minutes. You lose a lot of heat in the head. It sucks. So you gotta keep warm. Anyway, that's my fashion tip for bald guys.
I am also thinning, so like I'm gonna join you fellas here relatively soon. It's gonna be.
You don't come from a bald line though, do you, Ryan?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
I'm probably.
See, Hurricane gets it. He says he's going to a Pearl Jam show to buy some junk. That's much more what I would rather go. I'd rather go for Pearl Jam heroin addict.
Has Ryan hit the Eastern Conference, more like Eastern Conference angle yet? No, thank you for reminding me. This is just one of those other examples of the Eastern Conference coming into Denver or playing the underwhelmed and overwhelmed and understaffed Nuggets and still not finding a way. Thank you for reminding me and making Matt frustrated.
I just will continue to point this out. The gap between the two teams in terms of the East-West record is not what you would think it would be. And I just the bigger thing is I just look at the Western Conference. Look, the three best teams in the league are all in the Western Conference. The three best teams in the league are all in the Western Conference. But I don't think it's 7 of 8. It's just because Ryan, do you realize the Houston Rockets are in the play-in tournament right now?
Yeah, I mean, they've been extremely disappointing, and there's a lot of that going around the middle of the West.
I know how to do this. Ryan, in order for you to think that the West is actually that superior, I need you to admit that the Phoenix Suns are actually a really good team.
I think they're a good team, and I think that they would be at least 4th in the Eastern Conference right now.
Okay. Well, I got that win for me going on.
Good for you.
So the Zeke Nnaji thing, I think, is an interesting question here. After the game, I asked Jalen Pickett in his presser. I wanted to ask him. I was like, do you feel like you're going to be able to scale this?
Yeah.
And I think it's tough because what I do keep thinking is these guys are playing great when they have minutes and confidence and a little bit of
runway.
They get to make mistakes and keep playing.
Yeah.
And I understand people that are that's how you should always approach it. You can't do that in the middle of a regular season with veterans if you're losing. It's one thing if it's when they win, it's great. But if they're losing with it, it's really difficult. And so I just wind up wondering how this is going to go when they have to go back to very specific roles in very limited minutes, where if you do make a mistake, Adelman's likely to be okay, I got to get so-and-so back in there. And I think that Zeke in particular is in a really tough spot with that. I think he does better when he is just hey, you're going to go play all these possessions and get runway.
Not if they never convert Spencer Jones.
Sure, but they're going to convert Spencer Jones.
Probably. Swipa, how would you run the rotation? We'll take a break after that, but how would you run the rotation once everybody gets back healthy?
Jokic plays a lot. Murray plays a lot. Cam plays a lot. Brown plays some. Gordon plays a lot.
Peyton plays 48 minutes.
Boom! Oh my God.
Tim Hardaway Jr., Jonas. I think they have a legitimate 10-man rotation now. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I mean, look, Spencer has to play. It's a requirement. Is Jalen Pickett or Bruce Brown the 10th man in their rotation?
Well, I guess counting Bruce Brown. Yeah, Bruce. I think Zeke is a part of the rotation too for me.
Well, hang on. Okay.
No. Okay, we're gonna do this on the other side.
Yeah, do it on the other side.
We're gonna do this.
Funny that you think that we're gonna hit any of our time marks tonight.
Well, okay. Somebody decided he wanted to just waltz right in. Okay, it's fine. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're gonna. Oh my God! All right, guess we're going to game time. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd. It was a great crowd tonight. They got behind the Nuggets. There were some Giannis fans that were sitting next to us, some Giannis fans throughout the building, and they got their cheers that they were able to get through. But the Nuggets ultimately won out, and it was a really fun environment to be in. That first big run gets everyone up on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments. You don't want to be stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Gametime comes in. The Gametime app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. When you're browsing the Gametime app, it's just straightforward and intuitive. It's not always like that. Finding tickets with this app just takes a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying, making choosing tickets easier and confident. It's whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. All you got to do is check in on their prices that include fees up front. So the total's very clear. You're not getting any hidden stuff. It's the clear prices up front. That's great. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Gametime app today to get in on the action. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. All right, we're back. 3-man weave here on Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. As it was mentioned by, I'm probably Matt, Jamal was sick. Spencer was sick. Like, he gutted it out. But Jamal, I think, was clearly more sick based off of how he was reacted. Never actually got into the arena. I don't think they're trying to keep him away. But it does seem like Denver's, of course, going through it. Every locker room's going through it, but Denver's going through it right now at this. I don't know if it's an inopportune time. It just coincides with the time that Jokic is also out. But they're going through it, guys. It's been a very difficult stretch. But let's focus on the rotation. Let's continue this conversation. Swipa, you mentioned, okay, Jalen Pickett probably should be in the rotation at this point based off of how he's played. Zeke Nnaji, based off of how he's played, should probably be in the rotation. I'm doing the math here. If you go Murray, Brown, Johnson, Gordon, Jokic as your starting unit, even if you play Christian Brown 6 total minutes, he's still going to start. Then you're going to play Bruce Brown, Jalen Pickett, Peyton Watson, Spencer Jones, Zeke Nnaji, Jonas Valanciunas. Oh, and Tim Hardaway Jr. is in there as well. So, like, that's 12 guys. That's a lot of guys.
So, I mean, yeah. So I think this is the thing is, if we're talking about like a playoff rotation, let's say it's a big regular season game or playoff rotation game 1. The starting 5 plus Peyton, right? And so that's 6. THJ is 7. Spencer is 8. I think Jonas has to be 9. I have a hard time believing that they will, like, it would shock me if Zeke Nnaji played over Jonas Valanciunas at any point. Right.
That's the pecking order. I think that needs to be reestablished.
Like, this is the kind of thing is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a 9-man rotation, which is 2 deeper than they were at last year.
Wow.
And then at 9, you can start getting into Jalen, Bruce, and Zeke as like, okay, some of these guys will play, some of them may not. But I don't know if that's fair to Bruce. I feel like Bruce has earned so much respect with the coaching staff and with the locker room that Bruce might just be in the top 10. And it's just like, he's going to play.
The other thing is, like, and Swipa, you can jump in on this anytime. Like, the other thing is that Bruce, whenever he's out there, he provides them another guard that can just chase people around screens, that can switch a little bit, can battle, can do a lot of the hustle things. It's things that I don't necessarily appreciate out of him enough, but we're there. Like tonight, for example, I was talking to Matt being like, he was 1 of 7, but he also went 5 of 6 from the line, had 6 rebounds, 4 assists and a block, and was a plus 15. So, like, he did do things and did do some positive things. And it's like, these are important factors that need to be incorporated when talking about Bruce Brown. And so, does he deserve to be in that top 10-man rotation, Swipa?
Yeah, I mean, he had the block on the KPJ post up today. Really I think he's played really good defense for most of the year on the chase. I just think it's going to be situational. I don't think there should. I mean, Jalen Pickett, if you need more shooting out of your point guard because you're seeing more drop coverages, I think Jalen has to play more.
So I think here's so what I'm trying to get to, Swipa, is this question, and this is for both of you, is who is in the situational and who is like absolutely they are going to play. Right.
Yeah. Well, I think there's 9 you're going to play.
Okay, so the top 5: Peyton, THJ, the starters: Peyton, THJ, and Spencer, or Jonas.
I think both of them, right? That would be if he's saying 9, then that would be both of them.
Yeah, I think that Spencer is probably going to be locked into that as well, depending on who they play.
Okay. And then you think that Jalen, Bruce, and Zeke should all be situational.
Bruce is next up on he's going to play.
Okay.
I don't know if he's a situational guy for the Nuggets at all.
Yeah,
he's not. They've not treated him like situational.
They have not treated. Yeah, I would agree.
That's
with that.
True.
Fine.
So I think they have 10. They have the person that's situational as crazy as it sounds, it's going to be Jones.
So this is kind of what I really kind of want to get to is like, you can be excited for I think Jalen Pickett has been awesome in the stretch. I love the way that he's played. I'm happy for Adam Mares. Like, it's been absolutely terrific. I think he has been such a solid, low mistake, high, like he is so in control. And I love that. I think it's so important for how they're playing. And Zeke has had really good games. I think he's had some bad ones, but he's been overall a net positive. I'm also kind of like, none of this is going to translate necessarily to when we're like, I just don't think you can take the stretch and be like, and they can use these guys in the play. No, I don't.
I think if they go small ball, Zeke plays more in that series though. Zeke and AG play together.
Oh, I don't know about that. Like, I kind of think that what Adelman's tendencies have kind of shown is that he's more willing to go to Spencer Jones at the 5 when everybody's good and everybody's healthy. But like, I mean, Zeke is kind of playing his way into some of these conversations. Like the actual, like, and this is something that Matt and I talked about at the arena tonight, having the layer of switchability that he provides in terms of somebody that can jump out onto guards and be like, can hold up in that situation. It can manipulate some of the defensive coverages that they might see in the non-Jokic minutes. And I do think that matters.
The other thing I want to note here too is,
by the way, just so you know, this is very limited, but just go show you what I'm talking about. Zeke Nnaji this year, teams are shooting 7.4% worse when he's the primary defender. They're shooting 13% worse when he's the rim protector this year. Which is,
the rim protection thing is really surprising to me because I do not find him to be a good interior defender.
Well, you got to remember, a lot of that's going to be heavily weighed by the Celtics game and the 76ers game, which he was terrific in both of those games.
So I think one thing they also keep in mind here when we talk about this stuff is I hear a lot of fans being like, who else can they get? Who else can they get? Can they get this guy? Can they get this other guy? I think maybe it's important to kind of look at this and be like, I don't know how much more room they have. And if you're just like, I mean, look, definitely Swipa if the Bulls were to bite on the deal that we've talked about, the Zeke and
I think that deal's over, brother.
Ooh, Peyton played himself out of those combos?
Probably. I mean, you tell me, Matt.
I mean, I just think I think that's a politics question, not
sure.
Not a game thing. Like if Peyton's management is just like, he has shown enough, either commit to paying him in the summer or we want out. Right. And that's what it would take. And I don't necessarily think you're going to do that because then you have the reputation of being like, you're going to pull this when your team's trying to win a championship, when your team's this good. Right. And I genuinely do. I think Peyton is about the right things and Peyton would not want to do that.
Yeah, sure.
I think Peyton believes that he can be a star here. I think he believes he can be a star anywhere in this league, but I do not believe that he is like.
Did y'all talk about that last possession from him and Zeke?
Talk about
when the Bucks were looking for a 3 at the end of the game, and they had it was Zeke, it was Peyton, and it was AG, and they did 4 straight closeouts, and Peyton watched Zeke Nnaji got a block on a pump fake from AJ Green. They got an offensive rebound. Peyton tried to scramble for it, didn't get lost in no man's land, and then Ryan Rollins was in the corner in front of the Nuggets bench and got another block on that shot, and that is now the 3rd time Peyton's done that this year, and that is the 2nd time Zeke has done that since the Celtics game. Blocking on 3-point shots and closeouts.
I want to talk about the Christian situation here in a second because I think it's important to get to, Ryan. But AG's closeout on that sequence was absolutely ridiculous, and the fact that none of them got scrambled and they all closed out to the shooters, understanding time and score, was so important because so many times I've seen the Nuggets screw that up.
It shows, by the way, that Aaron is capable of doing that, and that some of the stuff that I might get frustrated with in the first and second quarter of a game, it's not who AG is in the moments that matter. Like he still has that gear and has been tremendous with it.
Someone says Zeke plays better with the bench than AG. I'll actually disagree with this because we haven't seen enough minutes with Jonas next to AG. The limited sample is like, if you put Cam and AG with Jonas, you basically murder everyone.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing about Peyton breaking out is that you can do those things. You can experiment with those things. And I hope that they continue to do that over the course of February, March, April, just to try to see what lineups work for a playoff rotation.
One of the things that I really liked about Peyton's game tonight, and he didn't have like this is the first time in X amount of games where he didn't score 20. But one of the things I really like about it is I kind of mentioned last game about how he shifted into a defensive gear in that 3rd quarter and they made the big comeback. And then the bench, it's really funny. Like the bench got annihilated versus the Hawks game, played awesome and won them the game tonight. One of the things I think that's really interesting is that Peyton is able to shift. Cam, you told me that he's a big PG admirer, right? Is that true?
Oh, they're connected in Cali.
Right. So a big thing for Paul George, I interviewed him back when he was an MVP candidate with the Thunder in his last year there back in the day. And what was cool is when I did all the film work on him, I noticed that PG would have these stretches where it's like he comes out in the first quarter and he scores 15 points. And then the second quarter, he doesn't score at all, but the Thunder extend the lead because he would switch into this defense and playmaking mode. And I asked him about it because I was lucky enough to get a sit down with him. And he was like, I think for a player like me, you have to be able, as the game goes on, to recognize what your team needs and be able to shift into that. You can't just be doing the same thing over and over and over again, because that's just not the type of players we are. Some guys need to. Russ needs to be Russ every single time he's on the court. That's when Russ was still OKC Russ. And I think that's like something that Peyton is kind of evolving into, which is pretty exciting. Like I asked Jalen Pickett about scaling, because I do worry about what's going to happen when Jalen Pickett's playing 7 minutes. And it's like, if you make a single mistake, you are going to, you're out. If Zeke has a bad sequence, you're out. With Peyton, he's not going to be in that kind of position, but he is going to lose a lot of his on-ball usage. And what I do think is cool is like maybe you can have like a stretch where it's like, hey, we're going to use Peyton on-ball in this stretch, and then he's going to be able to make an impact later in other ways like that. And then specifically, that's an upgrade over MPJ, because like a lot of MPJ was like, he would come out and like, oh, it's awesome, he hit 3 threes and the Nuggets are up 15, and then you never heard from Michael Porter Jr. again. And I think it's really good that Peyton's able to kind of scale up and down and adjust from offense to defense, even if he's still learning to be a high usage two-way guy. I think he's still learning that. I think it's really promising that he can shift in those capacities, because I like that as a formula for what Peyton could be on this team, Swipa, as, hey, in that second quarter to end the first quarter, Peyton was on ball and scored 7 points in a row. In the second quarter, he shifted into more of a defensive role in the middle of it with more of the starters on the court.
Well, and I tell you what, the way Peyton's going to be guarded with these starters is that he's going to be the weak man out. And so by that's just the way it's going to work. He's going to have Harden guarding him. He's going to have SGA guarding him. He's going to have whoever the weakest defender is for the Wolves. It could be Mike Conley or whoever else. He's going to have Reed Shepherd guarding him. And to be able to get all of them back re-involved into play, and then utilizing that mid-range pull-up or three-point pull-up he's been taking advantage of, or something he's added to his bag, and especially been seeing in the last several games, is that decel that he has on the Euro step.
Yeah.
It's so good now that the Bucks announcers were even noting it when they were playing. Oh, he's been watching Giannis Antetokounmpo tape. Like, where did he get that from? I do think there is something to just constant, consistent offensive development from Peyton. And even today, I thought that he did a really good job of the playmaking. You know, some of the best passes they've had out of the paint have come from Peyton Watson over the last 2 weeks. And so, yeah, I think that him developing into this role, and I think as he continues to get obviously just more ingratiated in that responsibility, and then when the starters come back, and particularly Jokic, I do think Jokic is going to have a new level of trust with him based on what he's been seeing sitting on the bench.
Okay. Can I go off now?
Yep. Okay. I think everybody knows that Matt has earned the right to kind of talk his talk a little bit here.
Well, this is not even that. This is just like this is a very specific thing I need to talk about. Oh. Christian Braun was ruled out tonight. It was a game time decision. He went through warm up. He had intent to play, and then said that he was uncomfortable. He had been in discomfort and was ruled out. Adelman talked post game about how it's going to be a process with him getting back to being comfortable. He had struggled, obviously, but he also felt terrible the next day after games and just came in and just didn't feel good enough. And they made the decision to go ahead and sit him. I asked Adelman to kind of clarify. I was like, are you expecting him to miss more games now, or is this going to continue to be kind of a game by game? He's like, it's going to be a day by day thing. So it's not that Christian's going to miss more games off the bat. What I will say, though, is this. There is, in my experience, and you can say you don't know what you're talking about if you are a member of the Nuggets training staff. And that's true, because I don't get to ask you questions. And there is a fierce and overwhelming rejection of any availability with Nuggets media at any point talking to the vaunted training staff. And that's a common thing in the NBA. That's not exceptional to the Nuggets. The attitude's a little different, but that's fine. What I will say is that there is no way for me to examine that Christian Braun was cleared to play, allowed to play, and then removed because he was in such discomfort as to not be able to play and not find that somebody screwed up somewhere. I am a big advocate for the fact that players will often advocate and have the final say for themselves. I have it on good authority that the players are the ones that make the money. The players are the ones that impacts their careers. Like they will, like, especially if you're a superstar player, if Nikola Jokic tomorrow was like, I'm playing in this game, no one could stop him. That's how it works. And Christian Braun is not a superstar, but he does have a say in that process. And I'm sure that he wanted to play, but you cannot tell me after what we watched of him. This was not the early season Swipa where it's like, oh yeah, he missed his threes. This was like, couldn't push off, got blocked by the rim on layup attempts in transition. It is very evident that there was a mistake made somewhere. You should not have a situation where a player is cleared to return, plays multiple games, and then doesn't re-aggravate it, but has to be held out. Not in a rest situation, but in a genuinely, no, it's like not doing good. That it's okay for guys to have recurring issues, knee flare-ups. Right? Guy's got a knee problem, comes back, plays a couple games, it flares up again. They got to hold him out. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It does. But to me, with Christian's overall health pattern and where he's been at this season, I can't help but feel like somebody screwed up somewhere that Christian Braun was allowed to return, put in the position that he was, and then ruled out for this game.
Yeah, I mean, when you get, I don't know if you've ever had like an ankle injury like that before, Matt, but like, they're torn ligaments. It could be, Matt, like that's not even that he re-injured it. It could just be like the amount of planning and stuff on it that he's doing. It could have just literally like flared it up where it's just, it feels like it's on fire and he can't move. And today he doesn't feel as comfortable. And maybe that's just like something they're doing for maintenance. I don't know how, again, I have no knowledge of the degree to which the amount of pain that he was feeling. It was clearly enough to where it was hampering him offensively. You talked about that you can't push off. Just the explosion wasn't there, all of that. So I'm not going to like necessarily associate blame. But I think for me, I just would rather Christian just kind of take his time to not worry about the basketball side of it. That's going to be here, obviously when he's ready. But yeah, you do need to let him just get fully healthy. I don't think it's doing good for him, doing good for the team if he's just not able to be himself. And if that is what has been ailing him in his play, then
and it may be one of those things where it's like, you get to manage your discomfort. The training staff's like, look, I can't tell you that you're going to cause further injury. There's no reason for us to believe that you're going to cause further injury. So you can play. And Christian was like, if I can play, I am playing. Mm-hmm. And that may have been as much as it is. And that's totally fine. And I don't think that the training staff was like, you're good, go play. I don't think that's how it went. Because if I do think in the modern NBA, I think that happened a lot back in the day. But I think in the modern NBA, for the most part, if a player is like, I don't feel comfortable playing, the staff's like, okay. And that's just like what happens. But I do think that this is young players this is like his first major injury. And young players after their first one always kind of want to come back. And then that's when they learn, like, I got to come back at 100%. Like which I think is funny because I'm always like, you're never 100% because you're not in condition. You're always going to come back at like 80, but you got to come back as close to it as possible. And like, he just I just think that there was a fundamental failing in the process of looking at him and being like, yeah, no, he's good.
Do you think that, and like, you guys can say no immediately to this if you'd like. Do you think that there was any kind of intrinsic pressure that Christian felt seeing what Peyton was doing kind of in his stead?
You mean the RDC world meme? Yeah. The backup quarterback, he's playing well, but not that well. One of those.
That's right.
That's maybe too much TikTok, Matt, for you to be on board with. But no, I don't. Christian doesn't strike me as that. I just think Christian's a team player. And he saw that his team, like, hey, we need more guards. I want to play.
I do think that he has the same opinion as AG, which is big fella doesn't miss games. I'm not going to miss games.
Yeah.
Big fella's out. I can't let this, like, I got to play. I got to help these guys.
Yeah.
Because I know what Joker would do. Again, Joker's unrealistic tank ability, his juggernaut quality winds up being, I think, sometimes a negative for the rest of the group. But yeah, So anyway, I just kind of wanted to comment that it was very concerning to me that he was allowed to play multiple games. It's one thing if it's like he plays one and it's like, nope, sorry, rush you back. Nope, can't do it. But it's another to have him play multiple games and then be like, no. And he may play in the next game. Like it's entirely like the way Adelman.
Does AG look healthy to you?
We'll see how he feels tomorrow. That's a bigger thing. He looked great tonight.
I think he will not play on one of the games on the back-to-back on this road trip. That's for sure.
Yeah, he won't play on the back-to-back, but I do think I think AG is looking, knock on wood, I think AG is looking healthier than he has in quite a while. I think the rest was really good for him, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. It's good to see. Any final thoughts on this one, kind of where the Nuggets are at before we get into a new week?
4-3. That's sugar.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to argue with Matt about this. I have no idea how a 31 minutes a game player for a playoff team last year managed to get a veteran minimum $3 million next year. Makes no sense. But Tim Hardaway Jr., thanks for coming to Denver, brother.
It was the biggest steal.
He's literally having the best season of his career at age, how old is he, 33?
Either 33 or 32.
Best year of his career by what metric?
Best offensive season. He's shooting better than he ever has.
Shooting efficiency. Because I was like, he was like a
volume too. His volume's not on par with like
per 100. He's been getting it up.
Volume in Atlanta was
no. I was saying Atlanta, but his volume isn't like what it was, but it's not like off. I think it's like 5 threes a game, 5.9 or something like that. I can't remember what the exact numbers.
I mean, he's been tremendous.
Yeah, he was. He did play 1 season or 2 seasons for the Atlanta Hawks actually.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
All right, we are out of time. We are past due. Everybody, thank you for tuning into the show. Another impromptu 3-man weave here. Thanks.
Whoa! Matt? Where does for your team Memphis Grizzlies? Where's Ja Morant go?
The sneaky one that I think is not being discussed, and I think they're trying to keep it under wraps. But I think the Phoenix Suns are going to be a serious suitor for him.
For Jalen Green, yeah, just
the most likely. I guess the most likely is Sacramento. I just can't see them being. It would be very surprising to me if Scott Perry was like, we have to rebuild this thing. Wait, I know. That doesn't make any sense. Miami is the other one that I think is probably like maybe a higher probability than Phoenix. So
they're going to fire Noah LaRoche.
I just think it's Tyler. I think it's Tyler Hero.
Yeah, I said Miami and people didn't want to listen to it, but I think Miami would be a good.
I think Miami's probably high on the probability list.
Ja Morant and Ware and Bam.
Yeah,
sign me up.
Perez of the Timberwolves. I do not think the Timberwolves will trade for Ja. I do not think that is what they were looking for. I think they're looking for. I think they do not want to add instability. They want to add just like a nice, safe piece to this team.
Simultaneously, they want to go higher and lower than where Ja Morant is right now. I think.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
All right.
Shout out to you, Barista Matt. Please hold the ice.
Barista boy. That's
I got a tall latte for overexcited over small sample sizes. I got a tall latte.
Yeah,
overexcited.
Everybody drop Barista Boy's Starbucks order in the comments. Just I want to see what you think. Matt is ordering.
I got a dark gray here. No hope, no joy. All probability. Matt Moore.
All right. That is gonna do it for this eepisode of Locked On Nuggets. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into a great show.
I got a white mocha for Ryan Blackburn. White mocha.
That's obviously true. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We'll talk to you guys